It is Monday, April 10th, 2023, 7:30 p.m. I call this meeting of the Needham Design Review Board to order. I am the chair, Mark Lusing. I would like to confirm that members and applicants are present and can hear everyone. So when I call your name, please respond. Steve Dornbush.
Here.
Susan,
Here.
109 Chapel Street, Cook.
Yes, here, Diana.
809 Highland Ave, Manny's Barbershop.
Steve and I are both here.
Okay. And 590 Hillside Ave, 1183 Highland Ave. Those are all yours, right? Tom and Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. And 329 to 31 Chestnut Street, Charles River Orthodontics.
Yep,
okay.
That's me. I'm Tony.
Okay.
Sunshine. Yep.
And Olin College solar canopy construction.
Can you hear?
Yes. Okay.
Yep, we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to this open meeting of the Needham Design Review Board, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Healy's executive order now. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable access is afforded to the public so that they can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Needham Design Review Board is convening by Zoom app as posted on the town's website and the DRB page, identifying how the public may join. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. DRB meetings typically do not take public comment. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this board are available on the town's website. Public is encouraged to follow along using posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, and please be aware that other people may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer unless the chair approves. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. And I'd like to review the remote meeting procedures. I will introduce each applicant on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will take comments or questions from DRB members. After discussion, each vote will be by roll call vote. And then the building department currently requires electronic submission of building permit applications. Copy of your application, stamped and noted for the type of approval that you receive, will be emailed by the applicant, by the DRB support staff to the applicant. That can then be attached to your building permit application. So we'll start with the first item on the agenda. This is Diana representing Cook Needham, located at 109 Chapel Street, applying for outdoor dining.
Hello, how are you?
We're well, thank you.
Thank you. Good. So yes, my name is Diana. What we are looking for right now is to modify what we have for outdoor dining for the previous years. We currently have just some about 6 tables, a few decorations. What we're trying to do is upgrade it a little bit. We would call it a minor project, using new tables, iron tables, and we're looking to have a total of 52 seats outside. And as far as lighting fixtures, that would stay the same. We currently, I know previous owner Paul used last year propane heaters, and we're also planning on using the same ones. More of what we want to do is aesthetic, just make it more inviting. We got some plans out there to put right now we have a what we call like a screen, perilla screen, or we're between the two materials, Baradex screen. We currently have it on there. The concrete barriers, everything will stay the same. We would probably want to just paint them and make them look pretty. And we were also thinking just maybe like a small fixture on top of the seats. I think it was also going to be the same material, Veradix umbrellas, and then just some planters on the side. And yeah, that's kind of what we have. Nothing too just too major, just more so about aesthetics, but yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Okay, I put up your information since you weren't doing it. Susan, do you want to, I guess I have a couple questions. Is there anything overhead?
Yes, so we were wanted to do something overhead. And you have it on there. It would be something either with wood or what's the name of it?
Is it a trellis or something solid?
A trellis.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This, like your picture.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Susan, do you want to start us off, please? Yeah, you're still muted, Susan.
I thought it was beautiful. I don't have any questions. I thought it looked very inviting and professional and easy to get through. It's nicely enclosed, nice materials. I don't really have any questions or comments other than that.
Okay. Steve?
You said 52 chairs, is the size changing or is it pretty much staying the same?
So a total of seats are gonna increment. It's gonna be a total of indoor and outdoor, a total of 148. So we are definitely working with the building department for that as well. And a modification to our special permit as well, which we have a hearing on the 25th for that.
Okay. It looks very comfortable. No questions at this time.
And I see Bob has arrived, so I'm just flashing through their thing. I don't know if you can look at it on your own also.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. And if I may ask one quick question, Mark, and I apologize for arriving late and if this has been answered, but it appears to be a raised surface, and I'm just curious how access works to get up, if in fact it is, I'm reading correctly.
Yes, so it's gonna be maybe 2 or 3 inches, but we are kind of debating on that just because we do have kids and we do have wheelchair accessible areas to the patio, so it will only be one side of the patio anyway. But our second option would be just like that green grass instead of any platforms, just to make it easier. So I think that we might just go for that, just because of the kids situation too, and just to make it accessible for everybody.
That's good to hear. I would advocate for that if that's a possible solution. The more access, the better, obviously.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because I was actually talking to Edison and Caesar about that, and we were kind of going back and forth. But I told them, with strollers and with people, and then with having elevation with kids jumping off on and off, it might be a little tricky. So I think we were kind of just going for the fake grass. There's really nice ones that we've been looking online that we probably would go with that just to make it easier, and it looks very pretty.
Good. That's my only primary concern right now. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Yes. Steve, I was just going to tell you what part of the driver on these, since they were allowed during COVID without much regulation, the selectmen would review it. But once they formalized it afterwards and made it an allowable thing to do, one of the issues for the building inspector has been the number of toilets a place has for the size of the restaurant. And so they've all had to balance their interior and exterior seating to make that work.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that, and the other thing on the handicapped issue, you have a certain number of seats. A certain number of them have to be accessible, which they're accomplishing by, I believe, by doing it up by the entry. So they fulfilled that. But I echo Bob's suggestion that the easier it is to get in and out of those lower seating areas, it'll be a nice, successful thing. But I think the material choices are great. I like the layout. It works well. There's plenty of movement space. So I think it looks very well done.
Okay.
So any other questions or comments? Okay, so I would take a motion to approve the Cook outdoor seating area as submitted.
So
So
moved.
I second.
This is gonna be fun. When we
Sorry,
come to the-
Susan.
Well, I asked her to do it, Bob, because you weren't here yet, and then.
Right, thank you.
All right, so the vote, Bob Dermody,
Yes,
Steve Dornbush,
Second.
and Susan Upton.
Approved.
Okay, and the chair approves. All right, thank you, Diana.
All right, thank you. It was
thank
nice to
you.
meet.
The next item is 890 Highland Avenue.
Manny's Barbershop.
Barbershop. So go ahead, Steve or Tom. I'm
Yeah, I can,
gonna bail on the screen so you can use it if you'd like.
that would be nice. Thank you. It's not really very complicated. We're using the existing light box that's there. And we're putting in our new, the new logo for Manny and his barbershop. Okay. Is it on screen right now? Am I?
No. Yeah.
Steve, do you want me to
Should
share
I
it? From
share? Oh, yeah, I thought you were gonna share it. I thought somebody there was gonna share it. I'm not, I have it up. I can, how do I do that? Let's see.
I can grab
Share
it
my
here.
screen, huh?
Oh.
Yeah,
All right, I've got it here. Just hold on.
how about that? Share this. I'm sharing this.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
That's you.
Okay. Good. Go away, everybody, everything, all this stuff. So it was the Venus Nails. Okay, and this is right next to Cafe Fresh Bagel and the Starbucks that's there. So it's a nice little shopping center with, 4 or 5 stores in it and a restaurant on the other side. And so we're doing Manny's Barbershop, just replacing with a new Lexan. It has a gray background, okay? For all you white haters out there. And that's kind of it. The letters, as you can see, the heights are 12, almost 12 inches at the most. The B has a little design in it, which is nice. And that's the sign as is, okay?
Yep.
Um,
And there's also
other
a
than,
barber pole.
yeah, I guess I would get to that because that's treated as a separate application. There is a definite, there's an error in the description. It's 20 inches tall. Okay. And it will be 8 feet off the ground from the bottom of the light fixture. Okay.
And that's a brick
So-
pillar that it's gonna be mounted to?
That brick color
Yes,
is,
it's
it's
brick.
reddish, brownish.
No, I
or
just wanted to know the
brownish.
material, Steve, that it was brick and not something
Brick.
else.
Oh, brick, yes, brick. Okay. And see, here is the whole stores. You can see the Venus Nails. And then right next to that place, whatever that place is. Okay, this one over here is the, if you can you see where I'm pointing to?
Yes,
I'm just showing some other signage that's around the area. Okay,
Okay,
and then there's the aerial view that just shows you where it is. Okay. It's across from a park where I think the blue light Christmas tree is there, right?
One of
yes. Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
that's,
so
thank you.
nothing
Let me-
spectacular.
Let me turn it over to the board for a minute, Steve, see if there's any questions. So,
Thank you.
Steve? should we-
Well, I'm sorry, you said Steve?
Steve Dornbush, go ahead.
I have to admit, I am one of those people that dislike white backgrounds. Reminds me of something I would see in the strip mall. So I do ask, the gray.
It's not white, it's gray.
It's that is though significant gray, that it's not just, it will be noticeable as gray. Because I can't tell what percentage gray, screen it is, what gray. So and it's hard, on the computer to really tell.
Yeah,
But that I do would like to see a significant, of course, not too dark, that you want the name to pop out, of course, but that it is gray when people look at it.
yes.
That's, I think, my one comment right now.
Okay. Susan?
No comments from me.
Bob?
Yes, the sign I think looks okay. It's replacing an existing sign, so the dimensions look okay. It seems clear. I do have a question about the light, the barber pole light. It says
Okay.
it says rotating red, white, blue LED strips. Is something physically rotating in it?
I'm not familiar with it. I'm doing this for him. But I think it does rotate slowly around. So
Okay,
you get that barber pole effect.
yeah.
Typically they do. Yeah, it doesn't say that there. Okay.
Well, it does say rotating, but it's not clear. I was wondering if that was a description of this, the colors rotate around the pole in a fixed position, or is there actually something spinning? To what end,
I
I'm not
think-
sure, but I'm just curious. This is the first one in my memory on the board that we've seen.
There is one on the little barber shop on Chestnut across from Harvey's.
Oh,
So
yeah.
We have seen one, but that might have been a while ago.
Yes,
Yeah, we did that one. We did that one too.
and that,
And
I recall, is a more traditional pole. It's not a barber pole in a, a light
In a light
sconce.
box. Yeah,
Kind of I've never seen one of these, so it's just interesting. And what?
he actually has it already from another barber shop he had.
Oh,
So, and I know he has to go, I'm presenting it to you for this, but think he's got to get his own building permit for it, and electrical and whatever. So,
right,
Yeah, I
it's got to
don't-
run power to it, so.
right. I don't see any light fixture there currently. Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I don't think the size is out of range. There's something to the left of Venus Nails. It's a vertical element.
and there's a light, from the restaurant.
That's the
Right,
light fixture
from,
related to
Yeah.
What's
Blue
that
on Highland.
restaurant over there? I can't remember.
Blue on Highland.
Yes. And
Um,
this would just block that, and also the brick is set back from that light, so it would almost hide it. Whereas this is nice and open. There's nothing on either side to block it. Okay,
Right.
I suppose they're gonna have to make sure they turn it off at night, right?
It's gonna have to be on a timer. If they're
Yeah.
not open, it has to turn off at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
And since you're not sure,
Yeah.
we'll make that a condition.
yeah.
yeah,
And that's
Seems
true.
to
of
me it would
time,
want to
too.
be on when it was open.
Yeah.
But not, after. And there appear to be two lights in the ceiling of that front entry portico. That will
Yes.
remain. Yeah, that's not us. Okay, no, nothing further right now, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, my only question, Steve, I want to talk a little bit about that existing sign that has been there for quite a while. Do you know what the light
Yep.
source is inside? Are they fluorescent tubes?
They may be, I haven't actually gone in. That's, the
And the condition of the box itself, I'm,
box is in very good condition. We went up and measured it. Exact, so. I have a feeling it may be LED, but I'm gonna go check it. And answer the question. Why, is there a requirement to have LED now?
no, well, it's more energy efficient, but I just want to make sure that we don't leave up an antique power source that
Yeah.
would be better. If you're gonna change it, this is the time to change it. So if the
Yeah.
cabinet, I'm gonna have to, I was just concerned that the cabinet would have faded by now and some other things. So does it need to be repainted? Or did you think?
No, it's in pretty
condition was
good shape.
sufficient?
It's sternotic.
Okay, oh, okay, good.
So-
That helps. All right, so, and again, I know you always comment on it, but I would echo Steve Dornbush's concerns. The reason the gray is that we like that gray is so that we don't put up a big white fluorescent light fixture in that
Yep,
location.
I'll make sure it's definitely
Yeah, I know you've got this
grayer,
noted.
okay?
so-
It's pretty gray, but we can do it grayer. It still looks good.
Okay. So, are there any other comments, questions? All right, so I would take a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
change in sign and the on the illuminated sign with as submitted.
So moved.
I second.
And we come to the vote. Bob Dermody,
Yes.
Steve Dornbush,
Yes,
Susan Opton,
Yes,
and the chair approves. And we come to approve take a motion to approve the barber pole with the condition that it has a timer and is shut off either at when the business closes or at 11 o'clock at the latest.
Yeah.
So one more question on that. Since it was brought up about the sign, are we concerned about the white in the barber pole, or is it going to be small enough that it's not that big a deal?
It's a pretty minuscule amount, I think.
Yeah.
I think-
All right. So moved.
second.
We come to the vote. Bob Dermody,
Yes.
Steve Dornbush,
Approve.
Susan Opton. Did we lose her? There she is.
approved.
And the chair approves, as noted. All right. Thank you, Steve. And Tom.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Well, stay there because
Tom's-
you're next again. So
Yeah, Steve, can you click stop share?
Stop share, yeah. As soon as I find out where it is,
it'll be up at the top, Steve,
at the top.
on top of the Zoom box. Yeah.
Oh,
Should be.
I got you. Stop share. All right.
And then I don't have the agenda right in
Thank
front of me. Is it Needham Furniture Makers first?
Yes, Needham Furniture and Acres next. Thank you. So go ahead, Tom.
Share that. Make this, all right, so we are proposing for this one is just a very simple max metal or die bond sign going on the building side here with vinyl graphics on the front. Specs, the letter height, the tallest is about just under 10 inches. Oops. And so we're proposing right here on the building. There, you'll see, I think on the next slide, there used to be lice guard sign here. So that's here. And this is Hillside Ave. So we included these pictures just to give a bit more context of where the sign is and why it's going here. So this is where you drive in, and then you come up here and the parking spots are up here. And the building, like the actual door to enter is on the south facing side here. So this would be the the viewable spot from the street. And some of the other signs in the neighborhood across the street, there's just this one kind of diagonal across the street. And then this is where it is. So again, here, this is where you enter into the parking lot, drive up here. And this is this back corner kind of is the door into the building. But yeah, just a pretty simple
Okay,
sign put up with galvanized bolts.
so you're through the face mounting it?
Yeah. Which will do countersunk holes with the vinyl circle covers, so you won't actually see the screws.
Okay, great, thanks. Steve, you have any questions or comments?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's funny, I just walked by there today. It's just as a sign, I mean, it looks good. Needham is the prominent message that comes across, which great. I love Needham, but I would think that furniture makers might be a little more prominent and easier to read. Also, do you have, is there also any plans to put anything on the side?
So actually, Lisa brought that up. We are thinking about some vinyl just on the door, but there won't be
Okay,
your sign because you can't really see it from the street anyway.
okay.
And then, sorry, I didn't mention, they do have a little directional sign here, which we had put up last summer, I believe, which just has Needham Furniture Makers that way, so people know where to drive.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Where am I? Susan?
I'd rather be the last one to talk.
Okay, Bob, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with Steve's comment about furniture makers. It's a good sign. It's clear. I think the graphic is pleasant. Can we specify, Mark, or maybe ask the people here, is it going to be centered in the space between the window and the top of the building? And also, is it going to be centered over that window?
Yes, centered here and here, I think, and yeah, I think we can move it over a little bit. So
Yeah,
it's
it looks off
horizontally.
just enough to sort of catch your eye that it's off.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
would be,
that
yeah,
can
that would
definitely
be my
shift
only suggestion.
Okay. I guess this really doesn't face the street, so, and it's your choice if that's how you want to do it, it's fine.
This does face the street. So this is Hillside Ave, and the sign will
Hillside?
be right here.
Oh, it's there. Okay, I was confusing that with the old one. So the picture has it. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Never mind. Okay. I thought that sign was staying and that you were around.
Oh,
your
no.
sign was
Sorry,
around the corner where the arrow is. So
No, yeah, this is the existing,
gotcha.
actual existing. This is
Okay.
older picture just added to show context.
Okay. If you go back to the sign for a sec.
Mhm.
So I think we all understand I'm seeing that the furniture maker is 3.5 inches high. We've read studies in past times when we had a sign manufacturer on the board who talked about the visibility of that size lettering and the speed and things. So I understand my colleagues' question about it, but from my experience, it'll still work well there. That's not a high-speed hill unless you're going downhill and there's nobody else around. But, so I think it'll work, and it's a very nicely designed sign. My one question is whether the 38 inches is more than you need, given the size of the lettering, that maybe a little less. We're usually always asking for more negative space, but I wondered if anybody on the board also thinks that maybe that could be 32 inches or 34 inches high, and we cut down a little bit of the white above and below.
That was
White.
gonna be my comment.
Good eye, Mark. I agree.
Yeah,
Right. And Susan, I left you out. Do you have any other comments, Susan?
No, I wanted to see if anybody else was gonna say anything, because I'm usually saying there's too much. It felt like it could be narrowed a little bit.
Okay.
And then I agree with Steve that furniture makers seems to be not the main point, which I'm not sure if that's okay with the owner.
That's
they-
their logo, how they have it set on all their materials and everything.
They submitted it, so we'll give them their choice. You might have looked at it, furniture makers running all the way across, but this, I'm comfortable with letting them do it the way they'd like to do it. I don't think this is really a retail place. I'm guessing this is a business that has people that.
Yeah, they have like, it's kind of cool. They have people can join memberships and go there and build stuff.
Oh, okay. So it's a shop space for rent, like WeWork.
Yeah, but they also have open houses, so like public, and they do different
Oh.
workshops. Yep.
Sounds
It's
interesting.
like a
Okay.
maker space.
Something you can do in your retirement, Mark.
There we go. Counting the days. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, so I would make a motion that we approve this with some conditions. First is that the height be 34 inches. That it be centered over the window, and that it's centered top and bottom in that brick area between the roof and the window head.
I'll make that motion if I can sneak in a question though, please, too, Mark. One more for the sign maker. It's a 1/4 inch max metal and it's 10 feet long. Is there any, like, how often is it fastened? So I might be concerned about warping if it's that thin.
I believe they were doing every 24 inches.
Is that standard?
My understanding, yes.
It's got a backing to it, Bob, too.
Oh,
So
okay,
there's a
All right.
stiffening. It's not just the sheet metal.
all right.
It's
I
more
agree.
than enough. Yeah,
All right.
it's more
good.
than enough.
Thanks. So I will make that motion that Mark mentioned with the
Conditions.
conditions.
Okay. And a second, please.
and I will second.
And we come to the vote. Bob Dermody,
Yes.
Steve Dornbush,
Approved.
Susan Opton,
Approved.
and the chair approves as noted with conditions. Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
all right, next one for them is Harvey Family Dental.
Pretty much around the corner. So this is in the same plaza behind, connected to Sudbury Farms, right across from Memorial Field. There was a Lotus Spa sign here, which has already been removed. And this one is going to be an aluminum bar frame sign, so about 1 inch bar on the side with aluminum backing, and then 3D acrylic painted letters and logo on the front mounted to the aluminum. And then also, I'm going to go right on the next slide, but the customers also purchased lights to be installed that will go above. And so this shows it on the full storefront here, about 7.5 inch plates for the lights, these here. And then, so there'll be 2 lights hanging over. And And so this is the area. And again, here right across from Memorial. Another pretty simple one. And then about 5 inches above the door frame here as well, or not the door frame, but the bottom of this facade section.
Okay, just a couple of quick questions and then I'll have the board's comment.
Sure.
There's blue and also gray elements. Are they all raised?
Yes,
Okay. And is there a background color we're looking at that isn't white?
correct. It's just a gray.
Another gray background.
Yeah, lighter gray from their logo color.
Okay. All right. Steve, do you have any questions or comments?
Well, the only comment is it reminded me of one of those images. Which one is different in this picture? All the other signs on that strip do not, on that block rather, have a background. And it's just the logo and the type 3D.
They're individually mounted letters. Yes, I agree. Okay.
And then all of a sudden you're going to have this sign with a background. It just seemed to me out of place.
They originally were looking at some channel letters, but with their logo, it was too thin to accommodate. So they switched to 3D letters with external lighting rather than doing the electric on it then.
Could even the they're only half, can you mount the letters and the imagery on the wall without the panel?
Without the backing.
Or is that a problem?
I do know that the space is not in great condition after the previous sign.
Okay.
If you drive by now, it does not look great. So I'm not sure on that.
Okay. Why don't I run through the rest of the board's questions and we can come back to that if we need to.
I do go back to the original comment about the barber also. There's gray and there's gray, that maybe they could make the background, so the background in the sign, so it blends in a little bit more with the
Have it match this color more.
yeah, so it doesn't pop out this big white or light gray. Again, there's gray and there's gray, many tones of gray. That it's,
Yeah, I think
subtle.
they'd be definitely open to that.
Okay, well, we'll reserve that one. Let's see what the rest of the board thinks.
Yeah.
Anything else, Steve?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Bob?
What are the out dimensions? Maybe there they no. Oh, there they are. Thank you. Great. There just seems to be a lot of whatever the color is above the ARVEY, off to the top right there. The tooth takes up, a big blank gap. That just seems unfortunate. And if this is their logo, I guess that's what happens when you surround it with a rectangular border. So that it seems out of.
But I think if we did this color, I think that would help that point up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no-
What's the border going to be? What color?
Matching this blue here.
Okay.
The blue.
Yeah.
Also, the issue with the letters is, I agree, they might be able to put them directly on the wall, but some of the parts are so thin, it would not hold up very well.
Okay.
This way
Right.
we can tape it up and secure it extremely well from the back.
And this is their logo, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Oh. It just and like Family Dental is hard to read, maybe on my monitor, because of the color differential where the background is not very stark. And it's also crammed down at the bottom of the sign. So I mean, otherwise, the Harvey's clear, but the Family Dental and the spacing seems a little smushed.
Harvey thinks a lot of himself, I guess. I don't know. I think we may have to go back to them and increase the contrast on that family dental. Okay? Just so it appears better.
I think that would help, especially if we're trying to match the background to the building. I mean, otherwise it seems okay. And I agree with my colleague's comment about, individual letters, but I also understand that can't be done.
Mhm.
The lights are above. And it would be centered over the door.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think you mentioned 5 inches above the top of the windows or the window frame.
Right here.
Do we know how many inches that would leave for the light mounting? Like, the sign wouldn't be centered in that band then, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So I mean, it's pretty much
That
much.
was in the note on the lights. It's 7.5 inches.
Yeah.
What's that?
Okay, that's all I have for now, Mark.
Okay, Susan?
No additional comments.
Okay. Well, we had a discussion about individually mounted letters, more consistent with the rest of the building. We try and do that consistently when we can, but we don't really have the authority to make you do it that way. We can discuss it with you, and if you agree that it's something you can do, we can kind of come to some understanding. But so the sign is compliant with the bylaw on that issue. I agree that I think getting the sign color closer to that whole panel on the wall would be helpful.
I think
and
that
then-
also would help with the contrast with family
Yeah,
dental.
and then, you should darken the family dentistry graphic and that other gray graphic as you need to, right? We tell everybody who tries to throw their letterhead on the wall that, a logo isn't a sign. So
Yeah.
I think overall, the issue with all that negative space on the upper right half could go away with a redesign of that sign by shrinking the tooth and putting it in a line with Harvey, even if it's still slightly larger, and then family dental below, and you can have a sign that's more in the typical proportions, maybe 28 inches high or something. But it's not objectionable enough for me to make you redesign it. But I'd be curious what the other board members think on that issue.
I agree with that, Mark. It's just, it seems like a letterhead put on a sign. In and of itself, it's not bad, but the biggest problem I have is the large white empty space on the top right of the sign.
I agree. I think that's a good solution.
I also agree.
All right. So Steve, what I'd like to do is continue you. And you can go back to your client with the comments we made and see if they're amenable to some adjustments like we've asked.
Okay.
Is that okay? Can we?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so why don't we do that? Sometimes people object and they just come back with the same thing. That's certainly an option. But we'd like you to discuss that. I think it's just too big a huge panel of nothingness on there with all the negative space that gets created by that design. So maybe a little bit of playing with that adjustment.
Would it help at all if it was like if it cut off here?
Well, that's a little bit, yeah, but
Build this
I'd
bit.
rather just shrink the tooth. So that
Might help. It might help if we didn't have a border around it too.
I was just gonna suggest
Okay.
that, Steve. Yeah.
We can just have a box, a 1-inch box with no border around it. As
Well,
Or we could
possible.
do this vinyl the same color.
right, you can paint the frame the same color as the background.
Right. Right.
So
Would the board be, I know they are anxious to get it up. Would the board be willing to approve with that condition that we make all this area here the same color.
Okay, so what he's asking is if he'll shrink the negative space on the two ends slightly.
A little, yeah.
And then paint the background in the frame the same color.
To match this color.
As close as we can. That's
Yes,
a
yeah.
as close as we can thing. Nobody in that building knows what color paint that is, so.
Well, I understand you're gonna have to just color match it, but
Yeah.
I don't know how the board members, is that amenable, or would you still prefer to see another option on this?
I'd be good with that.
Same here. They've worked with us. I think that would be fine.
Okay, Susan?
Okay, if they don't accept it, we'll come back to you, okay? With a different proposal, okay?
They'll accept it. They want it up.
Huh? Yeah.
They'll-
Why do people wait till the last day for this stuff? I don't get it. So, okay, so I would make a motion that we approve this sign with the conditions that it be, I'm gonna give you a number here.
Well, less
Can't
wide,
find the dimensions.
okay.
What's?
so it's 84
84.
wide. I would
So
say
let's
72.
76, huh?
I was gonna say 72, but
Okay, 72 wide. Frame the same color as the background. And the background
border
color
on the edge.
to match as closely as possible
to the building.
that panel in the building.
Sounds good, and no border, right?
Right, you're gonna, well, you're
Yeah.
gonna paint
Well,
the
color
frame.
match.
You've got to build the frame so you can install it, so, but you just paint it the same.
Yeah.
Or however you want to accomplish that. Match wall. Okay, so let me restate that. So motion to approve with the conditions that it be reduced in length to 72 inches. And the frame is painted the same as the background color of the sign. And that background color matches as closely as possible the wall behind the sign.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, we come to the vote. Bob Dermody,
Yes.
Steve Dornbush,
Approve.
Susan Opton,
Approve.
and the chair approves as with conditions. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you for working with us.
Is that,
Thank you.
are we out of fast sign work here? Okay.
You are.
We're done.
All right,
Thank you very much. Good
Thank
night.
you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is 329 to 331 Chestnut Street, Charles River Orthodontics. Are they here? They are not. Okay.
Nope, I'm here.
Oh, you are here.
Hi.
Okay.
Sorry. Tony Marciello, I'm from Sunshine Sign. We're representing Charles River Orthodontics.
Okay. So I apologize for, I know you checked in when I called you out. I'm sure.
No worries.
Out about it.
Had screaming kids going on in the background at that point. They're all in bed now. So
Okay.
just decided to mute for everyone's sake.
That's good. All right. Do you want to go ahead and show us what's going on there?
Sure thing. Let me see if I can do this here.
You want me to do it? I've got
Nope.
it. Okay.
So I've got a couple different options here. So I know white has been kind of the enemy of this group. and while I do appreciate it, I know, you know, business, especially one in the dental field, they're going to have a preference towards white. We like to have white teeth, not gray teeth. That being said, it was noted to us ahead of time that that there was an adversity to white, so we have a couple different options. The first, though, is a white sign. We have one white aluminum frame sign with panel and some dimensional letters on the front. We brought it down here Initially, the customer was hoping to have it up here, but we were advised that that's above that initial roof line. So we made adjustments according to the recommendations made. Brought it down here. The customer's occupying this space, to be clear, and it's a new orthodontist. She's taking over the practice from the previous owner. So part of her purchasing on Main Street there was have that sort of exposure. So she's looking to have something that does catch the eye there. This is a gray version. Gray version could go in the same spot. Additionally, there's a pre-existing flag mount sign, 24 by 22. We have a white version and a gray version. So whichever the board ultimately chooses is what they would go with, but the customer did make a point to have me say she would prefer the white if possible.
All right, thank you. That's a quick question. There's an existing sign there for Dr. Bijan. Is this the same size?
Yep, it's approximately the same size.
How much different, I guess? Do you know?
I think the existing sign is a little bit thinner. This one is a little bit thicker, but they're the same width.
It's a little taller. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So that one was probably in 20-inch range or 18.
Correct.
Okay. Right. We've had a discussion with the building inspector. The signage on this building is mostly unpermitted and kind of out of control. So this new tenant is obviously not necessarily responsible for that, but I'm going to ask you guys to talk with the landlord and clean it all up for us as a condition of any approval that we get today.
Absolutely.
Because it's
happy to do so. And I've already had conversations with him about this.
Because
And
what's missing is to the left of that tutoring sign is another Invisalign sign. So,
right. That and the other Invisalign sign would be coming down. This Invisalign sign would be going away. Again, so this was the other option. This was the initial option that we proposed and that the customer would like. This is really the most preferred option. We adjust based on the recommendations made from building commissioner, and this is where we ended up.
All right. Well, if the tutoring sign goes away, you could actually center it up in that space you were looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. The space that they're occupying is over here. The
Okay.
tutoring location is here, and where there are 3 businesses in the building.
It is confusing. Yeah.
It is a little confusing. The most logical space for the sign, at least to represent the location of the business within the building, is actually right here. That being said, where it's above the roof line and the previous orthodontic, or one of the previous orthodontic signs, is right here. Obviously that one that's there would be removed, and we would take its place there, for sure.
Yeah, we have a ban on signs on top of roofs, so you can't really put one over where your space is.
Understood.
I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, trying to help you get a better, because I should assume the door to this service is the left one.
Correct. Yeah, it's right here. We would be applying vinyl just to the, like some identifying vinyl to the door. So
Okay.
it does make it clear that which location it is that somebody would need to walk into. But again, as I mentioned, the most obvious place for the sign would be not next to the tutoring door.
Yeah. Well, that tutoring sign's got to come. That's not permitted. They can't. When they want to come in and get a sign, then we'll work with them and with you. And I believe Dr. Bijan is the landlord here. So
correct.
But you're gonna have to tell him that the conditions where all this stuff gets cleaned up, and if he has any issue, he can come in and talk with us.
Understood. Yeah. And just as just to represent the tenant, Dr. Kedkar, Nina Kedkar, she's
Yep.
starting her business here. She's a resident of Needham for, I think, the past 4 years. Her husband's a resident for the past 17 years. She loves the area. She loves the diversity and everything about it. And
We
she,
want to help solve the problem here. You know, we recognize the issues. So,
wants to start a relationship with the town in good order. And she's also across the street from, you know, the McDonald's with the giant sign and the what is it, Asian cuisine place there that has multiple signs as well. So she's got a lot of signage to compete with, and she's just trying to do it whatever she can to represent dental health.
okay, let me get some comments from the rest of the board. Bob?
Sure. Thank you, Mark. And thanks for the presentation. If you could just repeat the proponent, how does it compare to Dr. Bijan's sign? Size-wise?
Yep, Dr. Bijan's sign, and I actually might have an image for it here. It represents pretty well. So this is a sign that we're referring to by Dr. Bijan's sign.
Yep.
It's approximately 18 to 20 inches high, where this sign is 24 inches high. And the width is the same as 84 inches. I think that's the same for Dr. Bijan's sign. This area between these two walls is exactly 84 inches. So it's maybe just slightly longer.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. I mean, that's the most decent looking sign on the building right now, I think. So, you know, using that to sorry?
I said we're trying.
Yeah. I am a little concerned about the new orthodontic sign getting too tall, because that's a pretty narrow view window with the edge of the, you know, roof overhang and the gutter, and I don't know, the bushes change, I guess, but that's something I would comment on, that just, and in this case, unlike some of the other signs we've seen tonight, orthodontics is really mushed up against the edges and the bottom of the sign. So if the letters could be a little smaller, maybe, I think it would still read, and give it a little negative space around it.
We could also just change the spacing a little bit and squeeze them together, and
Yeah, they do look.
It's more crowded on the ends to me than it is vertically.
I agreed. Yeah. So that's kind of my comment about, you know, the proportions of that sign. Do we know how tall the letters are in orthodontics?
Yeah, 6 3/16.
Okay. And then the spacing, I think, left to right, the what is it called? The kerning, be condensed. Otherwise, a good sign, it's clear, it tells what it is, logo's simple.
You have an issue with this non-illuminated sign on this gray building being white instead of the way we typically tone. We don't tone down every sign, but we do a lot of them.
Well, I think traditionally it's the illuminated ones, because we're at night, we don't want the bright white. It's going to be in a dark space because it's under the eave. So if it's not illuminated, I'm okay with that.
Okay. Susan?
I don't have any additional comments. I
Okay.
agree with everything everyone has said.
Steve?
But first, thank you, Mark, for the history of that building, because my first comment I looked at and I thought it was like a NASCAR with all those symbols. It's just got to get cleaned up. And other than that, the logo, the sign reads clean. It's clean. It reads easily. No real issues with that specifically. So I'm okay.
All right. And I think the pole mounted sign out front is okay with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the worst simple. That's similar to the one that's there.
Yeah.
Okay. The question I have is, he asked about the location above that low roof. Mike, I mean, that's the sign in that location isn't remotely related to where the tenant is. That's frustrating for me that we can't help get a better solution. You know, one suggestion is to do a window graphic with the name in that center picture window. And we allow those to up to 25% of the window area. So you could do that as an element, not solid background, but just the lettering, sort of a decal kind of thing, if you want to look at that.
Yeah,
But you know, if we allowed it to go up on that top location and the tutoring signs comes down because it's just a banner, they're going to come back for something. And
Right.
then what do we do with them?
right. And honestly, if I had supreme power over everything and all the businesses here, probably what I would tell the tutoring company to do would be to take down that sign and put their sign in place of where Dr. Bijan's is at the moment, because that seems like the most obvious place for, you know, if the door is right here, to have that sign there.
Yeah.
And obviously we would create a sign for them that followed your guidelines without the number and emails and whatever else is going on here, like a business card. And we would do that in a lower space. I think that would be the best to represent all three businesses location wise. But of course, you know, I represent Charles River Orthodontics. I don't represent the tutoring company. I can talk to Dr. Bijan about them.
Yeah, okay. Any other thoughts from the board on that issue?
Just one little easy solution. If they can leave those bushes on the right, but if they trimmed them, that would also open up the space a lot better and make it, whatever goes there, easier to read.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to approve this in the location underneath or above board? I
Do
think
we
it's
presume the tutoring sign is going to come down at some point?
going to be a condition of this approval. So if it doesn't come down, then this sign doesn't go up. Since the
Yeah,
building inspector has asked us to do that.
okay.
So I have a question. So if the sign is approved low, replacing Dr. Bijan, the tutoring sign, if they replace it, can still go back up there? So
They
they
could propose they could propose something up above that roof, yeah. Maybe in the center over the door, but I just, it's frustrating to think that the business on the left has their sign on the far right.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. And
Where is the tutoring office?
They're in that
Yep.
door you see straight in front of you. They have that,
Yep.
and then they're upstairs.
and where's Dr. Bijan's office? The door on the left?
Yes.
Yeah, Bijan's office is what's being taken over by Charles River Orthodontics, and that's basically this whole space over here.
Well, I know it's not great, and maybe even ironic that the sign's on the far right for the door on the left, but evidently it's been working.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to talk through it, see if there's a.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mark. I think I'd like to get away from signs above the roof up and just in general. I think that would clean the building up to have fewer.
Okay.
I concur with that.
Okay. So I would make a motion to approve the Charles River Orthodontics sign with a white background in the location of the current dentist sign, and that we approve the pole mounted sign at the street without as submitted.
So moved.
Second,
All right, can I amend that? Because we talked about putting the orthodontics letters a little closer together. Can I add that? I would like to add that condition.
Is that a friendly amendment?
Yeah.
I will accept it. Do we have to have anything in our conditions about the tutoring sign, Mark, or is that the building inspector does that?
I'm going to have, and then the other condition will be that the tutoring sign is removed, the Invisalign signs are removed, the banner in the window at Code Whiz is removed.
Good.
This is so that when the building inspector comes out and does his final, he'll have some way to make this happen. I don't, we're not trying to tie this new tenant to these things, but this seems to be the only opportunity to get that option. So, you can feel comfortable that you go ahead and build the sign and install it, but now we have, there's the authority in detail to clean up these other elements. And it's just because it's been going on so long that I feel like we need to do this.
Agreed.
I want to put her in the position of having to enforce this when the town will enforce it.
I think
Okay.
that's the way to go. And I agree with that amendment about the spacing of the orthodontics letters.
Right, so we come to the vote. Bob Dermody,
Yes.
Steve Dornbush,
Approve.
Susan Opton,
Approved.
the chair approves. All right, well, thanks for working with us. We appreciate it,
Absolutely. Thank you all.
and good luck.
Thank you.
Right. The next item on the agenda is Olin College. We have distributed renewables development representing Olin College, applying for a site plan review for an application for a solar canopy, which we've all had, I hope, had a chance to look over, but why don't we turn it over to them?
Good evening. My name is Kristen Tarr. I'm a project developer with NG Distributed Renewable Development. NG is here representing Olin College and our proposed carport solar canopy. I'm joined here today by Jeremy Goodman, head of campus operations at Olin College, Claire Rogers, associate director for sustainability and campus engineering at Olin College, Will Maidment, civil engineer 2 at NG, and Tommy Poljic, campus civil engineering manager at NG. So thank you for having us tonight. And I want to thank the design review board members for inviting us here to present. So like you all said, NG, we're here representing Olin College, and we've submitted an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit amendment to Olin's existing permit at the parking lot, Lot A, for a proposed carport solar canopy project. So we're here in front of the design review board today as part of the broader Zoning Board of Appeals process, and we'll go in front of the zoning board on April 27th.
Okay.
I will turn it over to Olin College so we can hear from them for a bit
Okay.
on an overview of this carport.
Thanks, Kristen. I'm Jeremy Goodman. I'm the head of campus operations at Olin College. And the solar carport is really our first major initiative under Olin has been working for a bit on creating a climate action plan for the college. And we know that the town is doing that as well. In fact, Claire is on one of the subcommittees for that. And so really this is our first major initiative under this canopy of this larger commitment to sustainability for Olin. We're very, very excited about it. We've been working on this Claire and I have been working on this for about 4 years. And last fall, we selected NG to be our partner to move forward with. And they have come up with a design that we are really happy with and are hoping to move forward with as quickly as possible, because a project like this, our only opportunity to install this is during the summer. So
Okay.
that's it.
So can you describe sort of the whole thing to us? I mean, I'm looking at some images, or if you want to screen share and take us through the documentation that you have, that would be
I'll
fine.
do a screen share here and we can show you what we have.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yep. Just 1 second. Right. Sorry, let me get it. I have a lot of different tabs open here. Awesome. So we're proposing so here's our existing conditions. We are proposing a solar carport canopy over the existing parking lot A. Let me get to the right page.
That's fine.
I'll just say, so we have 4 parking lots. Our biggest one, Lot A, is pretty much perfectly situated for solar. It is, it's hard to see from looking from overhead, but it's actually tiered. So the highest point is in the sort of northeast corner there, and the lowest point towards the southwest. It faces the right direction. There's not a lot of tree shading there. So it's a really exciting project for us to maximize that. One point that you may be interested in is this is not particularly visible from any location that is not on the Olin campus. I suppose during the winter, you might be able to see it from that Babson parking lot in Wellesley next door. Yeah, but that's about it.
Yeah, and I thank you, Jeremy. I'm actually thinking our preliminary renderings might be a better place to start
Yeah.
here for showing what the carport is going to look like. So we have 5 different tiers of this carport that are structured over the existing vegetated islands, and will retain the existing conditions at those islands. The structure is 12 feet minimum clearance, and it's going to be over the tiers. I think one of these images sort of shows the tiers here. You can see there's about a 5 to 10 foot height difference between each tier, and each tier has that minimum 12-foot clearance.
And so it's basically a single pole with cantilevered 2 directions to support the array.
Yep, the array is going to be 6 modules in its width. So you can see that better here from the aerial. There's going to be 6 panels on each tier, and then this last one has 3.
Okay.
I can also call out a couple dimensions in here. We do have our dimensions here between the spacings. We've met with the different town departments, including the fire department, on our clearance here, and we also have the proposed width is actually shorter than the existing vegetated islands, so we're not expecting to have any impacts to access from this design.
Okay. Well, we recently looked at another proposal on top of a parking garage, and there was some large ground mounted sort of transformation equipment. And as I looked through your information, I couldn't really figure out where that was or if it exists. So is that happening someplace and it just isn't in the information? Are you having to add some large cabinets somewhere?
We're going to have our electrical equipment tie into the existing transformers and electrical behind this building. I can turn it over to Will to discuss that in more detail, but it's already existing infrastructure.
Okay. Well, that answers my question. So
We're making sure to put it where the other ugly stuff is.
yeah. Well, full disclosure, I'm in a butter to this. And I was the president of the neighborhood association that monitored and negotiated with Olin when they first were developing the campus. So, but they've been very good neighbors. We're very happy. So
We try, and if we're ever not good neighbors, I'm the person you can call directly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we want to keep it that way. That's great.
All right.
You'll have to.
Bob, do you have any
come and
questions
see
or
it.
comments?
A comment first, and then maybe a question or two. So
Yep.
I'd like to applaud Olin College for coming to us with such an exciting project. Love to see more of this. It's starting to happen in our town, which is great. So wonderful that an engineering school can be a leader in this area. I'm looking at a lot of the images provided, and I'm just wondering if they're representative or are they renderings. For example, a lot of the steel supports appear to be painted blue. Is that a Olin color, or is that a?
That is Olin's primary color.
Okay.
So that is Olin blue.
And I see you got a lot of red and white cars there, so very patriotic theme going on. Yeah, it's no, I don't have any questions except underneath where the columns are located. Is there a green strip currently, and will that remain on the? And it may be sloped as well, right? As you go between the tiers.
It is sloped. Right now there is mainly ground growing juniper there, a little bit of grass in some spots.
Okay.
And we expect that to remain. I think Chris and her team can probably explain it better, but my understanding is that the panels are translucent and will allow some light transmission. And our belief so far is that should be sufficient to sustain the junipers. And if it's not, we'll be moving forward with other plants. Part of the climate action plan is actually reducing the amount of lawn space on campus overall. So
Okay, good.
trading that in for native plants or naturalized plants.
All right, that's fine. What about rain runoff? How is that handled?
Yeah, Will, you want to take that question?
Yeah, for sure. I can touch on that a little bit. So what we're planning on doing is we have a gutter system in the canopies. So the rainwater will hit the canopies, flow into gutters, and then those will that'll flow into existing catch basins located in the parking lot.
Yeah, how do they get, because the gutters are on the low side presumably, right? So how does?
Yep, exactly. So
where's the
they're kind of in the
downspout?
middle. So yeah, we'll position the downspouts along the columns. And then so we'll have riprap at the bottoms of the columns, and then those will flow into the catch basins.
So there's a catch basin in the center of each strip. Those catch basins drain into 2 retaining ponds and then refilter back in and become part of the water supply for our irrigation system.
Okay, I got all of the steps there except for the part where it gets from the gutter itself back to the column.
So you have a
Yep,
leader,
so the
you just have
gutter-
a downspout leader over to the vertical, correct?
Yeah, right, I envision that. I'm just
But
wondering
it's
where that would be
8 feet.
located.
8 feet long, probably.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's because it'll be a counter slope, right? Because it's got to flow downhill. So would it be at the columns?
I could touch
Yeah,
on that
exactly.
a bit. Yeah, so it'll be kicking back towards the column, and then we'll have downspouts intermittently as it's traveling south. So it won't necessarily have a downspout on both ends. It'll be at every column or every other column. But yeah, it's taking it from the gutters and then kicking back towards the columns where the
Right.
downspout will meet it.
Yeah, I don't see it in the renderings.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
thank
don't
you.
think it's illustrated, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it for now, Mark.
Okay, Susan?
My questions were all addressed. How's the vegetation gonna get light? Hoping it would be transferred over to native plant material and not grass.
And as I say, that's what we're trying to do in campus in general.
Yeah,
Wherever we can.
Okay.
no comments beyond that.
Steve?
My questions were all answered,
Okay,
and I think it's great.
yeah, it's great. I agree. It's a very positive thing to be doing. Parking lots are a great place for this. My only other question is there is an all hours kinds of thing to a college lifestyle. And I don't really see any sort of lighting underneath these. What is there sort of a concept or how's this going to be lit? Oh, there we go.
Yep, we do have a preliminary lighting plan, and we've not shown that in the renderings. This is something we did on our carport in Vista, California for Target. And so this is kind of an idea of what the lighting look like. We're going to retain the existing color temperature and then the timers that are synced to sunrise and sunset, so they turn on and off at the same time. So we'll retain all of that. But this is kind of a sample of what we've done for our other project in Vista.
And so basically this is going to necessitate moving a bunch of existing lighting or removing a bunch of existing lighting. So NG has made sure to replace it with adequate lighting. And actually one of the things I like about this is because it'll be below the canopies, it should actually cut down on excess light.
Okay, and it's an LED typical fixture, fluorescent.
We haven't selected the lighting yet that we'll be using, but we'll make sure to be keeping the same brightness and color temperature as what's there already.
And
Okay.
in general, Olin is also moving every scrap of lighting on campus to LED over the next, hopefully 5 years.
Okay. Well, the ZBA will probably ask you more detail about that and the fixtures and things when they get the chance, but that's, we were asked to submit comments, so that's just one of the things I'll say, that we discussed it, but there wasn't a clear conclusion yet on what fixtures and the density of the lighting that you were going to do. And they can cover the rest of that for us. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, great. So we will prepare a memo to the Zoning Board of Appeals and send that over to them and with our comments, but overall, you know, it's a very nice project. I recognize the Olin blue, so I was,
Well, now I do.
yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time.
Thank you.
And- All right, the next item on the agenda is the minutes of March 27th, 2023. Any questions or comments, changes? All right, so I would take a motion to approve the minutes of March 27th.
I'm gonna pass on this one because I was not in
Weren't there.
attendance.
I forgot to look at the list. Sorry, I usually do that.
No, I just checked.
So, yes,
I would say so moved.
I second.
Steve.
I second.
Okay, and we come to the vote. Steve Dornbush,
Approve.
Susan Opton,
Approved.
and the chair approves. Right, thank you.
I'd like to be recorded officially as of having abstained.
And Bob abstains because he did not attend that meeting. All right. So it's take a motion to adjourn. Is there any?
That one I can make.
Okay,
Oh,
I can second.
all right. So Bob Dermody,
Yes.
Steve Dornbush,
Yep. Yes.
Susan Opton,
yes.
and the chair agrees to adjourn. So we're adjourned. Yay.
Has anybody seen the